rich guy. Show me a rich guy that has spent their entire life trying to fuck this agency. I'm going to put them in charge.
Good to see you, sir. Here we go. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to play this, but we decided we shouldn't play it because it could get copyright strike, and we don't want to get the episode. We don't want anybody to have any sort of a way to get it down.
Sure.
But it was the episode of you when you were on The View, and I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you might be conservative in your financial positions, but you're very liberal socially. They were talking about you.
Yeah, I wonder what happened after that. Gee, I wonder what happened. I don't know, maybe 4 years of his presidency happened where people were like, oh my God, this motherfucker is not even remotely moderate. You remember, the reason why they were saying that back then is because he's a media guy, they're media people, and they're fucking stupid. But also because he did have a lot of fucking moderate positions overall in comparison to the rest of the fucking boring-ass Republican Party, where he would present himself as a moderate. Dude, what are you saying? That shit started day one? No. 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 You are all remembering Donald Trump's craziest moments when he was running for president in terms of immigration. He was always insane on immigration. But on a lot of social issues, Donald Trump literally redefined the Republican Party. No more fucking deficit hawking. Gone. He'll never talk about it. Said he's going to fucking protect Social Security. Okay? Like, said that he was anti-war. He was pro-LGBTQ. Come on, dude.
You in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Yeah.
But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked, and the way they've done it, so coordinated and systematically. And when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
She was encouraging you to
Last
be president.
week, I did one of her last shows, I think maybe Thursday or Friday. That was a big deal, being on Oprah's show, the last one. And I was like one of the last shows in that final week. And I said, boy, we've come a long way since that.
What was it like?
Well, the concept, it was really like two different lives. You know, I had a very wonderful life, but I wanted to do this. The Apprentice was still going very strong. We had 12 seasons, and we had actually...
Has he lost weight? Yes. He has lost weight. He's Mr. Ozempic, I feel like.
14 seasons, 12 years. They had a couple of them.
Well, they canceled The Apprentice when you were running for president, correct?
No, they had Arnold Schwarzenegger do it. I was involved in that, and I had enough of it, and we did great. It was doing great, but they wanted me to stay. They all came to see me. They said, we're going to give you a contract. They wanted to extend my contract. Mark Burnett is a great guy. Then they wanted to extend the contract. Mark said, you're crazy. Don't run. No. Nobody gives up prime time, they said. You know, it's one of those little things, which is probably true.
Nobody gives up prime time, though, for being president?
For running against 20 some odd people, you know. It turned out to be 18 professional people, you know, mostly politicians. They said, who would do this? I mean, it's a long shot. Actually, the heads of NBC came over, the Paul Telegny, all the top people came over to see me, try and talk me out of it, because they wanted to have me extend. The Apprentice was doing well. So it was 14 seasons. It was 12 years. We had 2 seasons where we had a double, which rarely happens. It was just a hot show. And I said, you know, I want to do this. What happened is previously, like 4 years before that, they did a poll. They had Mitt Romney, and somehow they put me in a poll. And I blew everybody away. I blew him away, which isn't that hard, frankly. But I blew everybody away. And I said, that's interesting, because I never really gave it that much real thought. I thought about it, but never real thought. But I saw these polls were very good. And so I was thinking about doing it then, but I had a contract with The Apprentice. Plus, I was building 2 big buildings at the time, and I wanted to make sure they got finished up properly. And it was one of those things. The kids were just sort of getting involved. They're very capable kids, but they were getting involved early on. So I did that. I got them done. I had some very good successes. And I came on, and then I thought about it for the next one after the Romney disaster. And I ran and I won against Hillary. It was quite an experience, but it was a different life because you're right, The View. I was on The View many, many times, and they loved me.
Just the way people would talk. I mean, even if people had criticisms about you, people that didn't like you, there was always feuds and stuff like that. But the reality was the thing turned on you when they found out that you were going to be president. It was very coordinated. And some people are catching on to that now. There's a lot of people that were longtime Democrats like Elon and Bill Ackman and all these different, very intelligent people.
And they support.
Okay. Yeah, dude. They only now realized it. And not because they became fucking openly right-wing radicalized dumbasses after COVID. And realized that if they get on the Trump train, Trump will give them benefits.
Support me now. Bill Ackman supports
me.
He's been very supportive too.
This is what I wanted to ask you. What was it like when you actually got in? Because nobody really can prepare you for that. When you're running for president, you don't really know what it's going to be like when you actually get into office. What did you think it was going to be like?
In office or when I decided to run? So
no, when you got in.
When I was in. So when I was in and won and was in the White House, essentially. Yes. Well, first of all, it was very surreal.
I would imagine.
It's very interesting. When I got shot, it wasn't surreal. That should have been surreal. When I was laying on the ground, I knew exactly what was going on. I knew exactly where I was hit. They were saying you were hit all over the place because there was so much blood from the ear. You would know that better than anyone. When they get the ear torn up.
Ears bleed a lot, yeah.
They bleed. Anyway, so, and I was thinking the other day, when that happened, I really knew where I was.
He's right. He's already fucking priming him. Joe would know. He's a fighter. Chess, stop trying to pick apart everything he's saying. He's saying, I'm in the know. You have to understand something very important in this interview. Joe Rogan is Dana White's guy. Joe Rogan is a massive defender of the UFC and has always been historically. What is unfortunate for American society is that so is the fucking dumbass in the yellow tie sitting in front of him. This is a massive part of how this interview is being conducted or why this interview is being conducted, beyond the fact that Joe's also right-wing and also incapable of doing an adversarial interview if his life depended on it.
I knew exactly what happened. I said I wasn't hit anywhere else. With the presidency, it was a very surreal experience, okay?
Like, what's day one like? You win, you get inaugurated, holy shit, I'm the president.
Yeah, that's what happened. So I'm driving down Pennsylvania Avenue. I just built a building on Pennsylvania, the hotel, the old post office it was. We called it Trump National Hotel. And we sold it to the Waldorf Astoria. And it was a wonderful thing. But I'm driving down, I'm passing the hotel. You've never seen so many motorcycles, police, military. It was a major thing. I got off. Really, the first time I used Air Force One, landed, and we're coming down, and it was very beautiful. I mean, it was incredible. And we're going down Pennsylvania Avenue in the opposite direction. Normally you're used to going one way, and all of a sudden you're going the other way. The street was loaded up, and I wanted to go out, and I wanted to wave to everybody, but that wasn't smart. The kid's a little bit dangerous, right? I mean, when you watch like Kennedy and some others, right? But I really felt, I don't know, the love was so crazy. And so I did get out of the car for a brief, just for a very short walk. I thought it was very important to do. And Melania got out with her beautiful dress on that became sort of a staple. It was, people loved it. And Barron, and we're walking down the street. But where it really got amazing. We get to the White House, and now it's a little bit before dark, beautiful. And we went up to the president's quarters. They call them the presidential quarters. And I'm standing in this beautiful hallway. It's funny. Nobody ever talks about the White House as being beautiful inside. You think it's going to be, everything's going to be all metal doors and stuff. It's not. It's so beautiful. I made my money largely on luxury. The hallway is like 25 feet wide. The ceiling heights are, it's so beautiful. But I was standing there, and I said to the guys, I want to see the Lincoln bedroom. I had never seen the Lincoln bedroom. I'd heard about the Lincoln bedroom. And I was standing with my wife. I said, do you believe it? This is the Lincoln bedroom. I mean, it was like, it was amazing. Because look, if you love the country, but here you're, the Lincoln bedroom. And the bed, he was very tall. He was 6'6", which then would be like Barron.
Right.
It would be like Barron Trump. He's 6'9", but 6'6". He was very tall. Then on top of that, he wore that. Yeah, there it is. It's a long bed, elongated bed, and because people were shorter than you see. Some of the chairs are very, very low to the ground, actually, but he had the long bed, and they had. You had the Gettysburg Address right on that, right under that. You can't see it here, but right there, the original version of the Gettysburg Address. And this is the original, and I'm looking, and I just looked around. I said, do you believe this? Because I was never first of all, even if you were a politician, but I was never a politician. I sort of just started, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm standing in the White House. And it was very, very surreal. That room was so beautiful to me, much more beautiful than it actually is. To me, when I looked at the bed, and the bed you could see it was a little bit longer, had to be a little bit longer. He lost his son, and they suffered, the two of them suffered from melancholia. They didn't call it depression. They called it melancholia, and they suffered from it. He was a very depressed guy, and she was a very depressed woman, more so than him. And on top of that, they lost their son, whose name was Ted. And it was just seeing it.
I think he fucks up the name of the sons, but he's not wrong. But also, I don't know why. No, he has, one of his children died before the assassination, I think. But the one, Tad, died after. One of his children died. Tad died a tad bit after. Yes, he was killed by a vampire. I'm actually interested in this conversation. This is something that I haven't heard from Trump before. I'll admit, as the number one Trump stan, like I'm like a fucking library of fascinating Trump information. It's weird how much he knows about this particular thing. I'm wondering if it's like a deliberate decision that his advisors gave him, but he doesn't really listen to his advisors, so I don't know. To really like beef up one unique aspect of American history. Maybe he just like genuinely does care about Abraham Lincoln. It's like a personal fascination of his. He's not beating the fucking asexual biromantic allegations, I'll be honest with you. Because like Abraham Lincoln was also bisexual. Just saying. But yeah, he got the names wrong. He didn't. Tad died after. The other one died before. But that's besides the point. It's still kind of interesting that he knows.
The little pictures, a little tiny picture. I mean, you can't see the details there. Little tiny, everything the way it was. A little tiny picture of Tad, who he lost, and it was devastating. And he was, Look, he was in a war. He was, and he was having a hard time because he couldn't beat Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee won like 13 battles in a row, and he was getting like a phobia, like a fighter. You know a lot about the fight stuff, but like, I went to a UFC fight, and it was a champion who was 14-1 about a year ago. You would know the names. 14-1, and the only guy he lost to was this one guy, but the guy that he was fighting was like almost just an average fighter. Lost numerous times, but he beat this one guy. So I said, okay.
I really don't know who you're talking about. I'm trying to.
I will figure it out.
Okay.
But about a year ago. But the point is that he lost. He wasn't nearly the fighter as the one, but the one who was not nearly the fighter had beaten. He's the only guy that beat the champ like 5 years before. And I said, I'll take the guy that won the other fight. And that's what happened. He beat him a second time.
Sometimes
Lincoln,
psychological advantages.
Yeah, what is this crazy thing? Lincoln had I don't know, I've never read this. I heard it from people in the White House who really understand what was going on with the whole life of the White House. But Lincoln had the yips about, in a way, as the golfers would say. He had a phobia about Robert E. Lee. He said, I can't beat Robert, because Robert E. Lee won many battles in a row. He was just beating the hell out of him. You know, they tried to get Robert E. Lee to be on the North, but he said, no, I have to be with my state.
He's like, nah, I just love, look, I love the practice of slavery. So that's not going to work.
You know, the state was his whole thing, and he went to the South. And he was, I've had generals tell me, we have some great generals, the real generals, not the ones you see on television, the ones that beat ISIS with me. We defeated ISIS in record time. It was supposed to take years, and we did it in a matter of weeks. These are great generals. These are tough guys. These are not woke guys. But their favorite general in terms of genius was Robert E. Lee.
In terms of strategy, you mean?
Strategically. He took a war that should have been over in a few days, and it was, you know, years of hell, a vicious war.
I'm beginning to notice a thing with Donald Trump. I feel like he loves generals on the racist loser side of every conflict. My man might as well be like born in fucking Northern Ireland, like a the Northern Irish Protestant. The way he's like supporting all of the worst generals, man. What the fuck? He's like, I want it of Hitler's generals. I want them. They were brilliant. I want that. Very strange stuff from him. Like, Robert E. Lee got fucking owned, dude. He got owned.
And so here I am standing there, and again, I had never really done this before. You know, I ran a number of months before I won. I probably, I guess if you max it out, it would be a year, something like that. So I had never run for office. And I did well. I mean, I went into debates. We had 18 people, including me, and then slowly but surely they started to disappear. We had debates, good debates.
Everyone's aware of all this stuff. But what I want to get to is, like, what was the experience once you got inside?
It was just
what did you think it was going to be like in terms of, like, your ability to govern?
Yeah.
Like, this is your first experience governing anything. You've never been a governor. You've never been a mayor.
Yeah, private stuff.
Business.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden you're inside the White House.
The biggest thing was just that first moment of being in this hallowed, it was really a hallowed place to me. It was
surreal.
It was beyond. To me, that was the experience. It was a surreal experience. And then with time, that wears off. With time, it becomes, you know, your place where you stay. And I was doing a lot of, I had two things that I really focused on: governing the country and survival. Because from the moment I won, before I got to office, all of a sudden, they came down. I mean, nobody has ever been treated that way. And you see that. I mean, you see where in the Washington Post very early on they said, well, now the impeachment stuff starts. And it did. I mean, it literally started from the beginning. So I had survival and run the nation. I had a combination. Most people don't have the survival; they get in.
What did you expect though, in terms of like once you got inside, you had to appoint all these people?
Yeah.
Like, how many appointments did you have to make?
Well, you
within a
have
very
actually
short
you
amount
have
of
actually
time?
10,000 appointments. Now they're different. You have big ones, and then they appoint
Right.
100 people and 200 people. But the president really is involved with approximately 10,000 appointments. So you'll appoint a secretary of state, and he or she
Right.
will appoint a lot of people. So it's a lot. But in terms of major ones, you probably have like 100, but they're big ones. Treasury, state, military.
And how did
appointments.
you know who to appoint?
Well, I didn't. I had
That's. I was just about to say he didn't, but he said it anyway. He did not. He was like, "Who's the rich guy that wants to fuck this?" Okay, who's the rich guy? Show me a rich guy that has spent their entire life trying to fuck this agency. I'm gonna put them in charge.
no
You didn't.
experience. You have
Right.
to understand, Joe.
So
I
are
was
you
there
going?
17 times in Washington, and I never stayed over. According to the press, which I think is probably right, over the years, I was only there 17 times. I never stayed over. So now